Mr. President, I'd gathered Saturday night in Springfield, Illinois with my wife and a lot of close friends at the retirement party of Ann Doherty, who has served me so well in the United States Senate office and in the congressional office in Springfield. It was a great night with a lot of enjoyment that was interrupted by the sad news of the passing of Beau Biden. One of my other staffers came up and said that Beau Biden had passed away here in Washington on Saturday evening. Beau, of course, the oldest son of Vice President Joe Biden, had been suffering from serious cancer illness, brain cancer, for some period of time. Most of us knew that there was something terribly wrong when we approached the Vice President about his son's illness, and Joe and the Vice President in very hushed terms would say, "Pray for him." We knew that he was in a life struggle, but the fact that he would lose his life Saturday evening at age 46 is a personal and family tragedy. It's a tragedy which is compounded by the extraordinary person that Beau Biden was. This young 46-year-old man had achieved so many things in life. First and foremost, married Hallie with a wonderful marriage and two beautiful children. He was part of that expanded and warm Biden family. He was known to most people around America by his introduction of his father at the Democratic National Convention. It was not a customary political introduction. It was an introduction of love by a son who truly loved his father. Beau Biden told the story of his mother's untimely death in an auto accident with his sister, and how he and his brother Hunter had survived and drew even closer to their father as they grew up. Jill Biden married Joe at a later date, and the family expanded. And as you watch this family in the world of politics, they were just different. They were so close and loving of one another that you knew there was an extraordinary bond there. Beau Biden made his father proud and all of us proud in the contributions that he made, first as Attorney General in Delaware, but then in his service with the Delaware National Guard, actually being posted overseas in harm's way, earning a Bronze Star for the extraordinary service that he gave to our country. And that's why his loss is felt in so many different levels. This life was cut short, a life which could have led to so many great things in public service beyond his service to the state of Delaware. But in a way, it's a moment to reflect on this family, this Biden family. I've been in politics for a long time, and I've met a lot of great people in both political parties, extraordinary people. I've never met someone quite like Vice President Joe Biden. A friend of mine, colleague from Illinois, Marty Russo, served in the United States House of Representatives for several decades. He was a friend of Joe Biden's. When Marty Russo's son was diagnosed with leukemia, Marty Russo called Joe Biden, then a senator from Delaware. Joe Biden not only called Marty Russo's son, but continued to call and visit him on a regular basis. His empathy and caring for other people is so extraordinary. I don't know that there's another person quite like him in public life. The only one that I can think of that rivaled him was Ted Kennedy, who had this same empathy. And as I reflect on it, both of them brought to their life examples of personal tragedy and family tragedy, which I'm sure made them more sensitive to the losses and suffering of others. Joe Biden is the kind of person that does things in politics that really are so unusual in the level of compassion that he shows. I can recall one time when we were setting out a year or two ago on a trip together that was canceled at the last minute. And I called him and said, "I'm sorry, we can't go together. I had hoped during the course of that trip to ask you to make a special phone call to the mother of one of my staffers who was celebrating her 90th birthday. She was the wife of a disabled World War II veteran who had raised a large Irish Catholic family, the Houlihan family, and I wanted Joe Biden just to wish her happy birthday. Well, we didn't make the trip, and I didn't get a chance to hand him the phone, but he took down the information, and as soon as he hung up the phone from me, he called her. And he was on the phone with her for 30 minutes, talking about her family and his family, and thanking her for making such a great contribution to this country. That's just the kind of person Joe Biden is. And Jill, his wife, the same. How many times in my life and in others she stepped forward to show a caring heart at a moment when it really, really counted. And so the loss of Beau Biden is the loss of a young man who was destined for even greater things in public life. But it is another test of a great family, the Biden family, a test which I'm sure they will pass and endure, not without a hole in their heart for the loss of this great young man, but with a growing strength that brings them together and inspires the rest of us to remember the real priorities in life: love of family and love of those who need a caring heart at an important moment.